everyone, and welcome to the Irish Abroad show for this week. We're nearly there. We're nearly at the end of the season, and this week is full of promotion, relegation, heartbreak, and everything in between, basically, to be honest. I'm joined by Browne, who is not involved in relegation anyway, that's for certain, with Liverpool. How are we?
Yeah, I don't think we're really involved much more of a title race. I think it's pretty much as good as game over now with City's emphatic victories over the last couple of days. They've really turned the goal difference. Liverpool now they're up to +7. So I think it's a case of even if they were to lose a match, I just couldn't see Liverpool. Like Liverpool aren't swashbuckling teams to say away Man City are. So I couldn't see them catching City that way. So unless City somehow drop points in both their two remaining matches, but let's be brutally honest, the way they're playing, I can't see that happening. So yeah, even though like it was disappointing to draw to Tottenham, like it looks like at the end of the day, even if we had won that game, it probably wasn't going to make any difference. I think any fears that City might be psychologically damaged from the Real Madrid collapse, it's had the total opposite effect for them. They've really just kind of, it's almost like galvanised them and united them even more to make sure they don't end the season for this. But enough of the title race talk. We might just quickly touch on it before we delve into matters of Irish interest. Obviously, a massive game tonight. Probably the biggest North London derby, I would say, probably since. Good question. I think I'm correct in saying that you meet in the League Cup semi-final in 2008 when Spurs gave you a bit of a spanking. But I don't ever remember a league meeting between the two of you carrying so much significance in quite a while. Maybe that game at Highbury.
Yeah, that was the one I was
the
thinking
last
of.
ever, yeah, the last season Highbury just before Lasagna Gate. I think if Tottenham had won that game, I think they would have almost signed, sealed, and delivered top four. But Arsenal ended up catching them. And Arsenal now have the chance tonight. Victory at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That's it. It's all over. It's all done with. Top four will be guaranteed. A draw would probably pretty much leave it done and dusted because Arsenal only need to win one of the last two matches. Even if they drew their last two matches, it might still be enough on goal difference. But Tottenham win would make things very interesting. How are you feeling about tonight's game, Paul?
You got to be nervous, obviously. I mean, the two boys up front for Spurs, Son and Kane, are extremely dangerous, especially Son this year. He's had a wonderful season. You got to give him that. But yeah, you've got to be nervous. Arsenal haven't beaten them at White Hart Lane or the White Hart Lane Wembley or the new White Hart Lane since 2015, and that was a League Cup game. So they haven't won in the league away from home with them since 2014. So that's even longer. That was Thomas Rosický's Thunderbolt, by the way. What a goal that was.
That was what I was thinking of, yeah.
Yeah, I nearly hit, I swear to God, I hit the roof that day. Because that was after like a minute or something, but that was just unbelievable. Anyway, yeah, it's a big night. If they get the win, they're in. They should be looking to get the win. I think both sides will go for it as well, because, I mean, well, I know Conte was defensive on Saturday, but he kind of had to be against Hughes, really, you know. And I think they played quite well on Saturday, to be fair to them. Yeah. Yeah, it's a big game, probably slightly bigger for Spurs. I think Arsenal, if they got a point, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. No. But you don't want to have to go up to St. James's Park or have to beat Everton in the last game if they're looking for something as well. You want to get it done tonight, and if they can get it done tonight, that'd be fantastic. But again, it's been a long time since they've won there, so look, we shall see. It'll be an interesting game and well worth a watch. Obviously, unfortunate Matt Doherty's not involved for Spurs, but yeah, look, I mean, I try not to comment on these games because I get too wound up. But yeah, it'll be an interesting one anyway, that's for sure. Hoping for a win, but
yeah, I think even if it was a draw, I still think Arsenal get the business done. I think Newcastle, I think you could even see it on Sunday. I think they've kind of maybe switched off a little bit for the season. Now, fair enough, it's their last home game of the season, but not much to play for. I think Arsenal's fixture list is pretty kind, but they should get it done. It's a bit unfortunate for Spurs, as you say. They actually played really well at Anfield tonight. Probably looked more likely to win it in terms of they had the better chances. And under 95% of the time, circumstances, going to Anfield and get a point is a really good result. But they probably knew with Arsenal at home against Leeds and the likelihood that you were going to get the 3 points that you did. Probably wasn't a good result for them either. Like, so look, we'll wait and see what happens. Anyway, you're going to give us the rundown on Irish involvement over the Premier League the last couple of days, because obviously there's been a lot with a couple of midweek games that are just gone by.
Oh, the midweek! I forgot about the midweek games this week, but I do have the weekend
here anyway. So yeah,
grand, perfect. Anyway, that's fine. I have everything else. I don't know. I done midweek as well, but I forgot the Premier League. Imagine. I don't know. Anyway, So anyway, we'll start on the weekend. Nathan Collins played the full 90 minutes as Burnley were beaten 3-1 by Aston Villa. A bit of a shock that Villa were up early, and look, killed it off as soon as possible. Disappointing result for Burnley, who do have to play Villa again as well, and have Spurs away on the weekend. I'm not sure who they have last, but yeah, look, disappointing result for Burnley. Disappointing for Nathan Collins. I don't know if he won Player of the Year, but the Burnley manager or the stand-in manager won Manager of the Month. Sorry, not Player of the Year, Player of the Month. But it's been a good month, but a disappointing result there for Burnley. A lot of people would have been tipping them to win that. And Seamus Coleman got the full 90 minutes as Everton beat Leicester City 2-1 at the King Power. There's now 1 point between but there's obviously more after midweek. But there was at that stage 1 point between the three teams, so Leeds, Burnley, and Everton. Everton are fighting, Jared. They've found something I didn't think they would find, but they found it.
Yeah, give credit where credit is due. It was only a couple of weeks ago we kind of had pretty much them written off, and maybe hold my hand up as well. I would probably maybe poking a little bit of fun of our cross city Merseyside rivals, but deserve tremendous credit for some very, very good results. I think they'll be disappointed last night. I think Watford have been pretty much a shambles all season, and obviously they've been relegation already and everything else like that. They would have felt that was a good chance to go there and get 3 points. Look, I didn't see the game, didn't see the highlights, so I can't comment on it too much, but you would have felt with some of their recent results, there was a bit of a chance to kind of really pull away and put clear daylight. Big game at home against now Brentford on Sunday, and then the sign off the season, as I mentioned, away to the Emirates. I think they'd be like to be going into that game not needing the result, hoping that if worse comes to worse, other results will kind of keep them up. So I'm expecting Everton, as they should be, but I expect a massive Everton to go all out and get 3 points on Sunday. But it's just changed so much. A week ago, we were saying here at Burnley, we didn't see any way they were going to get relegated. Look grand, look fine. Then they get turned over quite easy at home by an Aston Villa team with nothing to play for. As you mentioned, they still have to go to Villa Park now next week. And you'd be inclined to think, well, if they couldn't beat them at home, the likelihood will struggle even more away. Villa have a tough run in, so it's probably the last game that they will really target to get 3 points in the season on a high. And then I think their last game of the season, Burnley, then as well. Obviously, they got Tottenham as well away on Sunday. That's going to be very, very tricky. And then they end the season at home to Newcastle. So you're probably, I would say, at best, maybe looking at 4 points there for Burnley. So it does make things interesting. And then you got Leeds, who, after what was seemed to be a decent run of 5 games unbeaten, 3 wins and 2 draws, started shifting a couple of heavy defeats. Seem to be losing discipline now with red cards, but they will feel they have every chance of getting 6 points in their last 2 games against Brentford and Brighton. So yeah, I think all 3 teams will still be confident enough for picking up a couple of points, and don't be surprised if it comes down to goal difference, which unfortunately won't be much use to Leeds fans because they are well behind the other 2.
Yeah, definitely. Even the goals they conceded last night, sloppy defending, and sure Dan James basically killed the game with that horrific tackle on Kovacic as well. You said you had the midweek one. Sorry about that. I don't know why.
Grant, yeah, just 2 Irish involvements. Well, it's up for debate about one of them anyway. But Seamus Coleman, we mentioned that game with Everton drawing 0-0 away to Watford last night. Don't think he can really class that as a good result for Everton, but look, keeps him out of the bottom 3. He got the full 90 and picked up a yellow card in that game. Now, an interesting one. I'm not going to lie. I've never heard of the name of Tony Springett before, but one of my mates texted me last night saying young Irish lad starting for Norwich last night, and he played 66 minutes in their 3-0 defeat away to Leicester. Again, a bit like Watford, it's been a shocking season for Norwich. They've been nowhere near the standard again required this season. Let's be brutally honest. But according to Flash Score here, he is down as being English. I don't know what's the story. Maybe it's a case of he is an England underage player eligible for Ireland, or has he played Irish underage? I'm not sure. He's going to be 20 in the summer, 19 years of age. I can't say I've ever heard of him in an Ireland underage squad. Would you know more about him, Paul? Am I just talking horse manure here and got my sources wrong?
I'm not sure. I only saw a couple of posts about him there today on Twitter, and then I forgot to write them down. But yeah, apparently he's an underage international, and I mean it's good to see him getting an opportunity. But no, I don't know much about him at all. But I did see a couple of posts, a lot of people congratulating him as well. So listen, fair play to him. I know Norwich were already gone, nothing really to play for. But good sign for next season that he's even involved now towards the end, and maybe they'll be hoping to get him in after the summer break and get things firing once again, because more than likely they're going to be in the promotion charge again, more than likely, because they always are really. But yeah, good to see. But I don't know too much about him. You only said you had those 2, did you?
That's all, yeah, because there was no Irish involvement in any of the other matches this week. I'll just double check to make sure there was none in the Wolves Man City match. 'Cause I know
I
there was
don't think
obviously,
there was.
yeah.
Hmm.
Surprise, surprise, no, there wasn't. Kevin De Bruyne, unfortunately, doesn't have Irish roots. Sorry
No,
to
he
disappoint.
looks like he looked
Kevin De Bruyne, as people maybe like to say, might give us some hope.
yeah, Irishman going. Anyway, we can rally on into the championship. Anyway, I'll start off. It was the final day, obviously, so wasn't really a usual championship final day. A bit subdued
Yeah,
for most years, but anyway, we'll crack on. A lot of Irish involvement. Mark Travers, Robbie Brady, and Gavin Kilkenny all played for Bournemouth in their 1-0 win against Millwall. Danny McNamara also played in that. Also, good to see Gavin getting the full 90 minutes as well because he started the season well but didn't really get in after that. And Mark Travers had a great season, Bournemouth up as well, so he'll be delighted with that and hopefully he can kick on next year and be their number one in the Premier League. Um, Derby County, they lost 1-0 to Cardiff and obviously they were already down. Jason Knight, Festy Abasele with his last appearance before he heads off to Italy. Joel Bagan and Aaron Cashin all played in that one. So good luck to Festy anyway, and I'm sure the Derby fans will miss him very much. Sammy Schmoddick's double and a Jack Taylor goal helped Peterborough beat Blackpool 5-0. CJ Hamilton was playing in that as well for the Tangerines. Peterborough bow out with a decent result there. Fair play to them. And I mean, the two lads have done all right this season. They've had a lot of appearances anyway, and it's always going to be tough for Peterborough, a very, very young side, and always selling their best players, really. But look, good to see
yeah,
them doing well anyway.
yeah. They left it
Yeah,
too late, really. In the end, didn't they? They put on a good push towards the end, but a horrendous start of the season really kind of was damaging for them. Just also in that game as well, Richard Keogh played. Started that game for Blackpool. He was substituted through it. Just wondering, the CJ Hamilton, the connection there to Ireland, are you familiar with that one? Or
I saw a post about it. He grew up in Waterford, I think it was, and he
okay,
played GAA and all. But he's declared now for Ireland. It was only a few weeks ago. Someone actually commented on Twitter on the post saying he definitely committed now. But yeah, he grew up in Waterford apparently, from what I've heard. So listen, if he decides he's Irish, he's Irish. Then that's what we want to hear.
yeah,
Yeah, and I mean he's had a decent season with Blackpool as well. Like you'd always think of Blackpool, they'd be down the end. I know they had those one season in the Premier League and then they lost the playoff final as well. But look, I mean, it's a good season and he'll be playing Championship football again next year anyway. Um, we move on anyway. Alan Browne scored once as Preston beat Aaron Connolly's Middlesbrough 4-1. Disappointing result for Middlesbrough there. Thought they might have a last minute push for the playoffs. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. Sheffield United have stormed into the playoffs. They beat champions Fulham 4-0. Enda Stevens scoring the last in that game. John Egan and Conor Hourhan also involved there too. So good to see there. Sheffield United, they're actually my tip for the playoffs now. I know I'm going off Nottingham Forest, but I think Sheffield United have been brilliant the last few weeks. And look, a lot of their players have played in the Premier League as well. So they know how to get the job done. Cyrus
you,
Christie, Michael. Oh, sorry, go on.
yeah. I was just going to say, you usually always back that team that kind of sneaks in and gets that last spot and carries some momentum. And Sheffield United have that coming up against the Nottingham Forest team. Still kind of fresh enough from the heartbreak of not getting the job done automatically, considering they put on such a great push and came so close. So yeah, and as you say, they've got that Premier League experience there as well. So I think you'd have to give them a great shout.
Yeah, should be an interesting game on Saturday. And I know it's two legs, but the first leg is on before your big cup final on Saturday afternoon. So I'll definitely be having a look at both of them with a beer anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah, two
Uh,
clubs as well that would feel they belong in the Premier League, like so. It
mm,
should make for a cracking atmosphere, I think, on both ties. Like,
yeah, and sure, the other one, Luton Town and Huddersfield. I mean, it's justified that the two of them are there, but does not really have the same ring to it as the other one, in my opinion. But
no, like
look,
if someone told you that was a League One playoff, I don't think you'd question a choice. You know, that kind of no disrespect to either team. Like, as I look at the great achievements, I touched on before. I think it would be class to see something like Kenilworth Road, such an old school stadium like that in the Premier League. Like, but yeah, like I said, like I do expect probably the winner of the other tie maybe to go all the way. But again, Luton, after a bit of a stumble, you know, they got there in the end with a victory on Saturday, got into the playoffs, so they will feel they're carrying momentum, and they will feel with Huddersfield, they were pushing more for automatic promotion. again, only narrowly missed out. Is there going to be a little bit of baggage fatigue there? I suppose we'll know by 9:30 tomorrow night, won't we?
Yeah, definitely, that's for sure. We can move on a couple of other things. Cyrus Christie, Michael Obafemi, and Ryan Manning all played in Swansea's 1-0 defeat to QPR. Disappointing result there. Jimmy Dunn not involved in the squad. He might have got an injury. I'm not sure. I didn't hear about it. But and then finally West Brom, Darragh O'Shea, Jason Malumbi, and Callum Robinson all played in their 4-0 win over Barnsley. A disappointing season for West Brom, but they've ended it on a high anyway. And William Hondermark played for Barnsley as well. Maybe a few more opportunities for him next year in League One. We skip, obviously League One season is finished now, but
just
also
on the championship as well. It's early enough after the season's over, but Preston already have released a couple of players from their squad. Obviously, most high profile Scott Sinclair, but Irish, a former underage international, Joe Rafter, he's now going to be released as a free agent, so he'll be looking for a new club in summer. He was there for quite a long time, was a stalwart and a regular in the team for quite a number of seasons. Probably struggled a little bit this season, but no, he'll be looking for a new club now, a new employment in the summer. Alan Browne and Shane Maguire have been kept on. Preston, one of those, a couple of years ago, they were always knocking on the door of the playoffs. They've kind of fallen away a little bit. You kind of feel maybe they're opening, their chances kind of come and gone a little bit. And just to follow up as well, and you're saying West Brom, probably considering as well how well they started the season, you would have to say probably the biggest disappointment underachievers in the championship this season. But they did end the season quite well, so maybe signs of Steve Bruce was starting to gel and get things together. Has a fairly good knowledge of that division. I think he got Birmingham out for many moons ago now at this stage, but most recently Hull City, not that awfully long ago, is a proven Premier League manager. So I think they could be one team to look out for next season, I would say.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, and he'll build a solid enough side as well as he usually does. Now League One is obviously finished, but we did have the playoffs on, obviously because they finished a week earlier. Troy Parrott did score, but MK Dons lost 2-1 on aggregate to Daryl Horgan's Wickham. Warren O'Hara and Connor Coventry played in that as well. Disappointed for MK Dons, who came oh so close to automatic promotion, but not to be this year, unfortunately.
No,
congratulations to Daryl Horgan as well.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Again, maybe just going back to the point we're saying as well, MK Dons went into the final day of the season, still with a chance for automatic promotion and suffered that heartbreak, and then they have to turn around and go again. It was a quick turnaround because they played the first leg on a Thursday, so they only had 5 days. I thought that was maybe a bit harsh. I'd love to know as well if anyone knows why the League One season ended up earlier. I'm sure there's probably some reason for it. So just shows sometimes the mental baggage you can sometimes carry from going into the playoffs. And obviously, you touched on now for Wickham and Daryl Horgan, look, our attentions in terms of Irish success in the playoffs turns there. Up against Sunderland, will it finally be third time lucky for them in the playoffs? They lost the final back in 2019 to Charlton, lost in semi-finals last year to Wickham. They even actually lost the Johnson Paid Trophy final earlier that year as well to Portsmouth penalties in 2019. So will it even be a case of third time lucky for them finally in Wembley? Look, they would feel it's only a step back in the right direction for them to back where they belong, and where they would feel they belong in the Premier League. As Wickham, look, they were a championship side more recent than Sunderland, and they gave a very good account of themselves last year in the championship. Unlucky to go down, so they would feel that if they come back up, they'll have a point to prove. They won the playoffs 2 years ago. They've been down this route before. They know what it takes. Okay, difference playing in front of a reasonably strong crowd at Wembley compared to no one been at it 2 years ago. But yeah, that one for me is like, I'm not going to lie and say I'm a League One expert, but from the outside looking in, logical point towards that's a 50-50 game where you might actually get the slight swing towards Wickham.
Yeah, definitely, and I mean they've been pretty much the same squad for the last while as well. Had the same manager for a long time as well, in Gareth Ainsworth, and look, it's overachieving for Wickham. In reality, I mean when I've been watching football anyway, they've been a League Two side more so than not. So yeah, it's got to be said. But Sunderland, massive club. Aidan McGeady still involved there, just back from injury. Can they do it? Who knows? We shall see. Anyway,
just also on League One, just before we finish up. So, what did you make of Stephen Bradley turning down the Lincoln job? I think he was linked before, right, at the start of the season. I think it was at the NK Dong job after Mark Russell went to Swansea. But I don't know how much kind of truth there was to that or how strong the link was. But like this time around, Lincoln did approach him. He was very much a clear target. I think it's a bit of a missed opportunity for him. I know maybe he's looking at it from the point of view that he's in on early days in the League of Ireland, but he's in the thick of a title race with Shamrock Rovers at the moment. Things are going really, really well after a bit of a slow start. They've turned their form around. He's possibly looking and thinking last season was a little bit of unfinished business that they didn't get into the group stage of the Europa Conference League. I think they're going to be seeded for the first round of the Champions League qualifiers. So that's strengthens their case. Maybe he feels like, right, I want to achieve that goal with Shamrock Rovers and then head off to England. It's clear as well, like that's twice in the space of either side of a season. He's been linked to a job in England. So he's still very, very young. I don't even think he's 40 yet. Opportunities are going to come, and his CV will probably even only look stronger if it is a case of, I want to get Shamrock Rovers into European group stage football first. But same time though, you would still say, was it maybe a bit of a missed opportunity, or is it more of a case of the former?
I think he's right to stay on, to be honest. I think if you go to Lincoln, like if you don't start well, you're gone by November. I mean,
same anywhere.
Yeah, I know it's the same anywhere, but I don't know. I think he's right to stay with Rovers, because if they do get into Europe, then they're flying. And I think if they got into the Conference League, they'd have every chance of getting out of a group, because you see the group stage, there's teams from Gibraltar and stuff in it. So like we could definitely put it up to them. I'm not disrespecting them, obviously, but like you should be beating a team from Gibraltar. That's just an example. It depends on the draw, depends who you get. They've got a great chance. They might not. They've a great chance of getting into the Champions League and the Europa League as well. I mean, obviously being seeded now, but yeah, I think it's the right decision. I don't know. I mean, Lincoln didn't get promoted last year, and then they had a pretty subdued year this year. I know Anthony Scully's there. He had a good season, but was injured for a lot of it as well. I don't know. I think maybe if he gives it maybe 1-2 more years at Rovers, keeps winning the honours, I think look, he'll only have more attractive offers coming in for him. So
I don't know about that though. I still think, realistically speaking, he's still at best looking at a mid-table League One job. Like MK Dons, when he was into that job, that was the back of MK Dons being closer to the relegation zone than they were to the playoffs last year. Now look at the turnaround they had. You could say themselves and Lincoln kind of pretty much flipped positions this year. But I still don't think like if it's a case of like, oh, he was right to decline Lincoln because he can hold out for better. I don't think so.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that. I think
I'm
he's
not
right
saying
to
you,
say
but I'm just saying the whole
yeah.
general perspective. But I do think he will probably head over to England a better manager himself if he can get Shamrock Rovers deep into Europe again. Like I said, I know you were touched on the Champions League and Europa League group stages. I think not that it's unrealistic, but I can't see it happening, them reaching either of them two competitions. But I do think they can reach the Conference League. And like just even experiencing playing football on the continent, what he's going to learn from different aspects of the game and stuff like that, it'll only stand to him. I know you're making the point like, oh, goes over to Lincoln, doesn't go well after 6 months. But what if he decides to leave after the end of the League of Ireland season in November, joins midway through, and he doesn't hit the ground running? He's probably going to be gone before the clocks change again the following March. Like, so it's one of them. It's football's results business. If he doesn't hit the ground running, regardless of where it is, he's going to be gone. Like, heaven forbid. Although I wouldn't mind it happening as a Pats fan, but I don't see it happening. Rovers suddenly have a massive downturn in form. Don't make Europe this season. He's probably potentially going to be gone. Maybe not, but it is a possibility as well. Like,
yeah,
I don't think that's going to happen. Rovers have proven that they're going to finish second at worst this season, I think.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I think he's right. We shall see what happens anyway. But he's done a fantastic job, and I mean it's good to see offers coming in from him as well. You gotta say that as well. We can move on into League Two anyway. There's actually a bit from this. We'll start off with the madness on Saturday with Bristol Rovers. Glenn Whelan helped Bristol Rovers. He played full 90, win 7-0, and they sealed promotion in dramatic circumstances. Northampton, I think they conceded one against Barrow, and that gave Bristol Rovers an opportunity. Now, a lot of people are saying it's a fix and this and that. Look, Scunthorpe were down for the last 8 weeks, so their heads were gone completely. So, I mean, there was always an opportunity. Bristol Rovers were going to get a few goals anyway. But yeah, congratulations to them. Congratulations to Glenn. Good to see him still playing, and maybe he'll have one more year in League One.
Yeah, and Trevor Clark as well. He actually started that game as well for Bristol Rovers. I feel as well with Glenn Whelan, like we touched on it a lot on this show, and we talk about the great and the magic and how Wales is still doing it at 38 and everything else like that. And he gets a lot of praise, not just from us, but every time he does something with Cambridge, it lights up social media. And I get they're two different type of players because Wales can create moments of magic and it's that kind of flair player. But I don't think Glenn Whelan gets anywhere near the credit that he deserves. First and foremost, to last as long as he did in the Premier League with Stoke City just shows you like how good of a player he was. And it's not a coincidence as well. I'm not saying the two of them were overly linked, but as soon as he left Stoke, Stoke got relegated. And you can be pretty sure that did play a part because he would have been a massive leader in that dressing room. And it was clear that season when Stoke went down, when things were turning against Mark Hughes in particular, when he got sacked, that they were probably crying out for leaders. Like I think Jonathan Walters also was gone around the same time as well. Like I'm not saying it's all down to the Irish players, but I'm just saying they did lose a couple of leaders, and Glenn was one of them. But to survive as long as they're in the Premier League and be consistently on the team sheet for a Stoke City team that, it wasn't like Stoke that season, like they've been coming for years to get relegated. It actually came from nowhere because they were always constantly mid-table, and Glenn was part of that. And he's gone around. Went to Aston Villa after that. Was a massive part of them as well when they got promoted from the playoffs. It was really a crucial part of them when they went on a strong run towards the end of the season. I'll always remember they played. No, this was actually before they even went on a good run. They were still in a big rush at the time, but they played Sheffield United in the Friday night game. They were 3-0 down with 10 minutes to go. Glenn Whelan came on and he absolutely helped transform that game. That turned around and saw them draw that game 3-all. And like Villa fans were very much full of praise for him that season. Okay, it didn't quite work out for him at Hearts after that. But he's proven he can still keep going into the twilight of his career in the lower leagues with Fleetwood, with Bristol Rovers. It's obviously clear Joey Barton has taken a shine towards him as well because he seems to follow him around the last couple of years. But it's phenomenal achievement still to be producing the goods at 38. I'd like to see him stay there, give it a go at a higher level again next season. But I think maybe his legs and his body will probably determine that. And again, maybe I don't know what his contract is at Bristol Rovers as well, and given his age profile, would be a big ask for him. But if it is the case, that's how he decides to end his career, perfect way. And I think I just think he goes underestimated. And even that campaign on Mick McCarthy as well, he came back in from the frozen and was excellent in that campaign, it has to be said as well. I know it didn't end in success for Ireland, but he was brilliant in that midfield. And I know he won't be remembered for being the most fair player, and he divides opinion. Some people don't rate him. I've always rated him. I think he's always been a brilliant player, brilliant servant for Ireland. And like I said, for people to turn around and say, oh, he's crap, he's rubbish at football, I'm like, just look how long he survived as a regular. And I'm not just saying as a regular in the squad. Like, say, for instance, not popping anyone, but just say, for instance, like a Kevin Long at Burnley. He was a regular in that Stoke team the whole time. Like, you cannot be a bad player for doing that.
Yeah, I think what's to be said about him is, and you look at a lot of teams now, they need a midfielder who's just in there to do the job and get the ball moving. I notice with my own team a lot of the time, the one thing you struggle is linking up between the defence and the attackers, and I think that's what Glenn does. He's that little option in between. He can move the ball brilliantly, and you got to give him that. And he's had a fantastic career. Obviously, Joey Barton would know his quality from being with him at Man City as well in the younger ages, so
Yeah,
that's got to
true,
be
yeah.
said too. And look, he's brought him in, and they've got promoted, and he's been a big part of that as well. Um, whether he has the legs for next year, we shall see. Because League One just seems to be improving year on year with the
Yeah.
players coming into it as well. And it's. I mean, you'd see it like you look at Wigan and Rotherham, particularly Wigan. Wigan could be mid-table in the Championship easily, I think, with some of the players they have. And look, it's great to see. Fair play to him on that. And look, what a way to go up as well. Like the Bristol Rovers fans and Glenn will remember that for a long time as well. You've got to say. But there's a couple of other things to go from League Two. Anyway, John Rooney got an assist in that other game between Northampton and Barrow, so he played a part in Bristol Rovers' promotion also. And Stephen McLaughlin grabbed an assist from Mansfield in their 2-2 draw with champions Forest Green. That got them into the playoffs by a point ahead of Sutton United. And there was an assist for Conor Grant in Rochdale's 2-0 win over Newport. Owen O'Connell and Corey O'Keefe played in that as well. So I think the League Two playoffs are I think Northampton against Mansfield and Port Vale against Swindon. I think I'm not sure, but yeah. Look, I mean, two interesting ties. Swindon in particular, a big team there, have played in the Premier League before, and Irish involvement as well with Mansfield, Stephen Quinn, John Joe Till, and Stephen McLaughlin as well. So plenty to play for in the next few weeks.
Yeah, it's interesting as well on Mansell, and it's not an Irish touch or connection at all, but the name will ring a bell from when he scored that winner for Newcastle against Manchester United a couple of years ago. Matty Longstaff as well, being there as well is an interesting one too.
Hmm.
Like so,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they've got a lot of good players as well, and they were actually on against Salford a couple of weeks ago. I was in and out looking at it, and Stephen McLaughlin scored twice as well, one from the penalty spot and one a free kick as well. So look, they're a team that likes scoring goals anyway. So
yeah,
fair play to them. We just have a comment here, and I'm just gonna address it. Anything on the winger from Norwich? Obviously he's not fully declared if he's playing underage, but we actually don't know much about him. But he did get 66 minutes last night, and we'll see in due course what the story is there. But yeah, we did speak about that, but we're not 100% sure. So thanks for the comment anyway. And I can go on into Scotland on the weekend now as well. Uh, Not much to talk about really. Joe Shaughnessy, Conor McCarthy, and Alan Pepper all played in St Mirren's 2-0 win over Dundee. Ryan Sweeney played for Dundee as well. And Jake Doyle Hayes and Johnny Hayes played in Hibs versus Aberdeen. That was a 1-1 draw. Nothing really to play for in either of those games. Just kind of finishing out the season. In the lower divisions in the playoffs, Jonathan Afolabi got a goal and 2 assists as Airdrieonians beat Montrose 6-4. And they will play Luke Connell's Queen's Park in the promotion final. I think that's this evening or tomorrow. I'm not sure when it is, or we shall see anyway. We can go to Europe, or no, Scotland midweek as well. Sorry. So congratulations to Celtic. Obviously, they won the league last night with the point of Tannadice. None of the Irish lads are involved, but that is a league winners medal for Liam Scales and James McCarthy. So fantastic stuff there, and they are in the Champions League as well, which is
group stages, yeah,
unbelievable. Yeah,
and
unbelievable stuff. And, yeah,
they can predominantly thank, even though they won't like it, they can predominantly thank their performances of their neighbours in Europe over the last couple of years for why they've got that and why Scotland's coefficient has improved as the champions are going into the group stages of the Champions League.
yes, most definitely. And Hearts are also in the Europa League as well. The first time in 18 years that Hearts have got into Europe at all. So that's unbelievable for them as well. That's what I heard the other day. They're in. That's what I heard because they're
Straight into the group
guaranteed
stages.
straight into the groups. That's what I heard. They're
Oh,
guaranteed. I don't know what the
that's a,
story is with the other teams and the Conference League and stuff, but
yeah, I just had a look there. It's Motherwell and Dundee United. I presume they'd probably have to go through a qualifying round as well. But you think from a Celtic point of view that like great and brilliant it was win the league. Let's be honest. No one thought this time last year that they were going to take the title away from Rangers. Everyone kind of thought this is now Rangers' spell to have time to have a spell of dominance. Do you think it'll be somewhat kind of underwhelmed, undertaken away if Rangers are Europa League champions this time next week?
probably yeah, you'd be a bit sick. But Celtic still have that European Cup from 1967. So I mean, but yeah, it would be a bit sick. But you have to give credit to Rangers. The fact that they've gone all the way and it's been like they've been performing better and better year on year. It's unfortunate, but it is the reason why they're in the Champions League, as you
Yeah,
said. Yeah, so well, I know Celtic did get through the group once in the Europa League as well, which would affect it too slightly.
twice actually. Yeah,
Yeah, twice, and then they were in the Conference League the last 32 as well. So okay, they dropped out of the Europa League, but still, you're still getting through to another
they're
round.
probably singing the Eurovision Song Contest tonight. It's the only other European competition left from the Inter.
Oh God, I'd say so anyway. But yeah, congratulations to them and this year. I don't know where that has come from because they were awful the day I saw them. There was nothing about them. But
Who was
look,
this?
Frankfurt. I saw Frankfurt live this year against Wolfsburg in February, and they were woeful. I don't know where it's come from, but
They've
they're in
yeah,
the final.
they've been a bit of a Europa League specialist on that. I think they got to the quarterfinals was it the COVID year, and they definitely got to the semi-finals in 2019 because they lost in penalties to Chelsea. They actually could have been
Yeah,
playing Arsenal in that final. Things
yeah.
would have been different. But yeah, like I said, just give credit for credit's due. Rangers had a really slow start to their group stages of the Europa League as well, and turns around with a couple of good results. And it's been no fluke in the knockout stages. When you look at some of the teams that knocked out, obviously in particular the two German sides. Um, they battered Dortmund over two legs, didn't they, really? And obviously that victory against Leipzig as well, who were Champions League semi-finals 2 years ago, knocked Manchester United out in the group stages last year. Probably got a little bit of luck, you'd say, against Braga because they, I think, finished the game with 9 men. But look, They are where they are. Look, I'm not going to lie. Like, I probably like a lot of Irish people. I hope they don't win it. The
Hmm.
only consolation is a small bit is if they were to win it, Liverpool to win the Champions League, that we could spank them in the Super Cup final. But I really don't think Rangers fans would even give a damn ass about that, to be brutally honest, because they'd just be even chuffed just to be there.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, there's a comment there from Willie again. Rangers haven't the chance. We shall
I
see
wouldn't say
by
that.
this.
Would not say that.
Yeah, yeah. By this time next week, we will find out. All I will say is, people from Seville, lock your doors because those two sets of fans are going to run riot.
Oh
Anyway,
yeah.
we will. Yeah, we will move on from this. Um, where we now we're back into Europe anyway. Josh Cullen helped Anderlecht to a 4-0 win over Royal Antwerp. They're playing Royal Antwerp again tonight. That season is nearly finished, obviously. And the team who were top, USG, have now bottled that. Club Brugge are going ahead of them. They beat them 1-0 last night. So an entertaining title race in Belgium.
Did
Um,
Josh get his first goal as well?
he got his first goal a couple of weeks ago.
I thought he
Yeah,
scored again this week. Sorry.
he might have. I didn't see he scored anyway. It didn't come up on live score. Um, I don't think he did. But yeah, he definitely scored a few weeks ago anyway. We move over to Bulgaria now. There was 3 assists for Graham Carey as CSK Sevilla beat Slavia Sevilla 3-1. Was just looking up there. CSK Sevilla have a cup final on Saturday as well, on about the same time as the FA Cup final. I think they're playing Slavia Sevilla again. So that'll be an interesting one. And maybe Graham can get his hands on a bit of silverware in Bulgaria, which would be great to see. Um, we can move on to Zach Elbazetti. There's a double from this here, and very, very interesting double. Zach Elbazetti helped AOK beat Gothenburg 1-0 on Saturday. And yesterday, they played Malmo at home and they won 2-0. And Zach was part of that as well, playing 76 minutes. So they're now gone top of the table. I know it's only 8 games, but it's a bit of a statement after losing their opening game anyway, Jared, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think they lost two of their opening three, actually. As you mentioned, I think that's now 4 or 5 wins on the bounce, and that's a big win to beat Malmo. If I'm correct in saying that's the side that pipped them for the league title last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, sorry, I'm after seeing a comment there. Sorry, Jared, it's after
All right.
rattling me a little. But yeah, they lost the title to Malmo last year.
So yeah, so
Um,
Malmo have been back-to-back champions in the Champions League group stage, as we know earlier this year. Okay, they were probably far from competitive in it, but still, it's a big statement, big win for them, and it's clear to see like they were. I remember we were chatting to Philip O'Connor last year. No one really expected them to do much kind of last season. They were kind of a surprise package, but they were proving that they were worthy of their position. They were worthy of being up there fighting with the big boys last season, and they've really kind of carried on from whatever they've kind of built from last season, which is very, very good. But as you say, still only 8 games. It is early days, but good to see. And like I said, maybe as well time and form, as well everything else like that, because they're going to be involved in Europe as well this season as well. So yeah, a lot to look forward to for AIK and for Saka over the next kind of couple of weeks. It'll probably be we're only chatting there off air. It's probably going to be our main focus and attention now after a couple of weeks' time when everything else in the continent finishes up.
yeah, definitely, and obviously League of Ireland's still on as well, which is great to get us through the summer. I know there's a couple of
Yeah.
internationals coming up as well, but yeah, look, need it because without a World Cup, when there should be a World Cup, it's gonna be it's gonna be a weird summer anyway. But we'll get through it. We'll get through it. We still have the best 2 franchise leagues in the world anyway as well, still going. Well, one of them in anyway. The MLS and Australia. We'll start off with the MLS. Derek Williams and John Gallagher played in Austin FC's 1-0 defeat to LA Galaxy. So Derek Williams obviously playing for LA Galaxy, a clean sheet for him there. They've been a lot more. They've been a lot more solid since he's come back in. Anyway, that's for sure from looking at results. And Toronto were beaten 1-0 by Vancouver Whitecaps. Shane O'Neill played in that. And in Australia, Jay O'Shea grabbed an assist as Brisbane beat Sydney 3-1. Whenever Brisbane have won a game this season, Jay has been involved, either getting an assist or a goal, scoring a penalty, winning a penalty. So that's good to see anyway, and good to see involvement there as well. I think that's it, Jared. Do you have anything else to add?
No, just the way Jay O'Shea is playing and everything else like that, you'd be thinking he'd be with a good chance to move to one of the top end teams in the A League, I'd say, in the off season.
Yeah, definitely. Mental. He's had a great season.
Yeah,
He'd probably be in the team of the season from what I'm looking at
not
because
far
every
off it.
week, yeah,
Yeah.
because every week, but they've had a disappointing year. To be fair, that must be said. Actually, I just have one more thing. It's interesting as well. I know I've mentioned Paddy Madden a couple of times. He scored last night as Stockport won 1-0 put them back in charge for automatic promotion in the National League. I think the final games of the season are this weekend, probably on Sunday,
No,
because they
there's
won't.
actually or is it? I thought there was another round of games to go there. Maybe
I
you could
think
be right.
I think there's because there's one less team in it this year, so like
There
there's
is, yeah.
only 23. Yeah, so I think that's it because they've all played 43 games and one's played 44. So I don't know. I'd assume it
Yeah,
is anyway, but
you
yeah.
are
Oh,
correct. The final day is there on Sunday, yeah. So, or yeah, Sunday's 15th. So yeah,
yeah. It's be Sunday because they don't want to clash with the FA Cup final. But
clash with all the Premier League games though. So I think they could have worked that one out a bit better. I think.
But that's the thing. It's like the League of Ireland. If you support it enough, you go to that instead of the Premier League. I think that's what they're
Oh
trying to
no,
do.
I'm not saying. I mean from
Oh
just
no, I
even
know what
from
you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah.
television kind of point of interest. Like there's a big gap there on Saturday. You know, at 12:30. I know there's the playoffs on, but like I just kind of think even when you give it some chance of kind of just getting more views and more eyes on it, you know, you're going up against Premier League matches on on Sunday. You're not really giving yourself any chance. Like
Yeah, no, you're dead right. Yeah, and I think BT actually have a game on from the Premier League at the same time as
they do.
well.
No, they've Spurs and Burnley, but I think that's a 12 o'clock kickoff. So
Yeah, it won't really clash with it then.
yeah,
Look, we should say good luck to Paddy anyway, and hopefully they can get the job done. But Wrexham are chomping on their heels and did beat them 3-0 last week, so a bit of pressure on Stockport there, who were at one stage running away with it from what I remember looking at. But
is there a
that's it.
possibility in 10 to 15 years' time the top four in the Premier League will be Man City, Newcastle, Salford, and Wrexham?
I hope not, but probably
Well, it's
because
what a sad way to end the show by that proposition.
yes, and that'll probably be the Super League then as well, because they'll be the only ones to be able to afford to play in it. But yeah, we'll leave everyone to mull over that comment from
Yeah.
Jer. Thanks very much, guys, for watching.
As we look
I don't
forward to
know.
a 64 team World Cup as well that summer.
Oh yes, fantastic with the likes of Burkina Faso, Luxembourg, and Qatar also joining us once again. Um, thanks very much, guys. Not sure what way the show is going to be for the next few weeks. We might have to revert to every second week, but
We'll be
keep
back
you
next week.
posted.
There'll be plenty to keep us going next week.
We'll be back. We'll be back next week. Yeah. Fair. But after the Premier League finishes, we shall see. But thanks everyone for watching. Thanks to Jer for coming on as usual, and please make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks very much, guys.
Cheers, Paul. Thanks for everyone for watching.